Welcome to the Dr. Leadership Show, where we take a look at how you approach your work and personal life and how we can make the most out of both of them. A weekly get-together where we get real about self-improvement and development as we all make this not-so-easy journey through life. Our discussions will cover ideas and concepts from how to grow your career to how to lead your family towards prosperity and happiness. We don't pretend to know it all, and the doctor is the first to be vulnerable, discussing his own weaknesses, both past and present. This is about growing together and having some fun while we discuss what is happening in the crazy world we live in and how to make the most of it. Let's strive for awesome together. Let's get after it. Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of the Dr. Leadership Podcast. Hope you're having a great Wednesday morning, Wednesday afternoon, whenever you're checking this thing out. I'm having an awesome weekend. I'm recording on Sunday. Hopefully everyone had a great weekend. March Madness in full effect. Hope your teams have won. Hope your everybody's brackets busted again. It just it never ceases to amaze me. It's the great thing about March, and that's why they call it Madness. Again, hope you enjoyed the episode with Cynthia Pong, CEO and founder of Embrace Change last week. We were focused mostly on women of color, but her approach is good for all people, and that is helping people kind of in their mid-career or mid-life, develop skills and attitudes that help them grow and reach their new goals. And I really wanted to kind of piggyback off this a little bit. So I've got a big change happening in my life. I'm retiring a week from tomorrow. After 30 years in leadership, 36 years in the industry, I'm leaving my employment at Ricoh and heading off into the sunset with my wife. Going to do some consulting, going to do some fun things like that. I'll talk about more in a minute. But it really, we've had a lot of conversations with a lot of people, and Cynthia Pong's episode helped me kind of bring this to light too, that I wanted to kind of share. And what I'm going to share isn't saying I've done everything right. I don't want anybody to misinterpret that, but I'm going to talk a little bit about my wife and I's journey some, because you too can be in a position to reach financial freedom, be able to get yourself in a position that you can do whatever the hell you want, which is I'll tell you what, I feel really, really good about. And I think you will too. So I'm calling this episode Choose Wisely. We make choices and choices make us. I've said that before on the show in a lot of things. Every choice you make has impacts. There's collateral engagements that happen with every decision. And I didn't make, and my wife and I have not made every decision correctly. That's not what I'm saying here. But I think on the big rocks of life, the big decisions and goal setting and achievement and attainment, it's important to be in lockstep here. So we're calling it, we make choices and choices make us, so we got to choose wisely. We all need to let me start this way. All of us need to take account of our current situations and make adjustments in our lives to reach whatever our goals and objectives are, right? There's no better time than right now. The other thing I was thinking about is the grass is starting to green up, right? Last week was the beginning of spring, March 20th, right? We go to June 21st. We're in the spring season here now. And what spring represents, it's why Easter is also in this period. It's why it's all the colors, the pastel colors are so important. It represents renewal and growth, a restart, the new year, right? January starts the calendar, and it used to be all the months made sense to the Latin terms. December used to be the 10th month, but when we had Augustus and different Caesars and Roman rulers, they wanted months to be named after them, and that's why we have Julius, July, and Augustus, August, stuck in the middle. It used to make sense. Maybe you didn't know that. These are the little things I know that mean nothing, except maybe a piece of pie in Trivial Pursuit someday. But it used to be October was the 8th month, September, was the 7th month, and so on and so forth. And then two leaders, two guys screwed it all up. But anyway, spring hit last week, so that also helped me to kind of spring this forward. And again, it represents that renewal and that growth place. And you and your loved ones need to be in the front of your mind today, right? And adjust to meet your financial and life goals. So I'm retiring, and I'm going to do some things. I'm going to keep my mind going. I'm going to continue to do this show, etc. But I'm speaking from a point of experience here. Again, none of this is a braggadocious point. I'm very fortunate. A little bit lucky, but it's amazing how hard work and dedication and commitment always are in the co-pilot seat with luck. But I don't want it to be taken wrong here. So just understand this isn't a thing on Pat and Brent and Aaron, the Taylors on their backs. But I think our story has some street cred to it. And I just want to share it. And that's why I want to share it, is because all of you can do the exact same thing. So again, not trying to brag here, but my wife and I have been very fortunate. And it is primarily because we made mostly good choices. And not easy choices, not always the most fun choices. If you want easy and fun, don't listen to me, because our choices weren't always easy and weren't always fun. But good choices for our long-term goals is what we focused on. So remember this line: we make choices and choices make us. I know I already said it a couple times. I can't say it enough. We make choices and choices make us. So what we decide to do today has impact on tomorrow and next week and next month and next year and next decade and so on. So if you want to achieve your life goals, are you making the choices to ensure you will? So that's what I want this self-reflection to be today, is, okay, what are those big things you want to do? And then work backwards from it. I'm sitting here today with 1 week left in my corporate career. Like I said, 30 years in leadership. I'm retiring March 31st from Rico. I am 57 years old and my wife is 45 years old. That's good, right? I mean, on our terms, when we want. My wife worked very, very hard for 30 years too. Plus, she was an All-American athlete. So the time she put in the gym and the dedication to camps and the practice and all those things created unbelievably good work ethic. It's what drew us to each other. Just a couple Iowa kids, right? And what are Iowa kids about? Hard work, honesty, integrity, a bunch of really shitty things, right? We're flyover country, but man, we got a few things going right for us. Same thing holds true of people in Kansas and Nebraska. Most Illinois, you get outside the big cities, Wisconsin, Missouri, or as we refer to it in Iowa, misery. It's spelled M-I-S-E-R-Y because we tease each other. Minnesota's just batshit crazy, but hard workers up there too. They're just off the reservation. But my wife is 45, I'm 57. We never have to worry about money again in our lives. Now, that's a very fortunate thing. We just signed a contract last week. We're building a residence in the south of Portugal. Yes, you heard me right. We're going to take the Clampets are heading east. It'll take a couple years to build this thing. But we're building a residence in the south of Portugal next to the ocean. And this, again, not braggadocious statements. They're simply the outcomes we set our mind to when we met almost 15 years ago. Now, we wanted to retire early. Check. We wanted to travel the world. Check. We've seen a lot of places. The reason some people go, Portugal, what the hell? Look into it. Just was announced in a Travel and Leisure magazine, #1 healthcare in the world. Check. Cost of living is a little bit less. Check. Beautiful weather. San Diego weather, 65 in January, 85 in August, about 320 days of sunshine a year down in the Algarve. We're moving to Vila Moura, Portugal is where we're building. Beautiful, beautiful place. And we're going to travel all of Europe over there for 5 years. We may be there for 5 years. We may be there for 35 years. I don't know yet. My kids aren't having any grandbabies as of yet. Neither one's married. One's got a pretty solid relationship going on. Maybe something happens there. The other one still trying to find the right person out there. It's out there for him. She's doing the right thing, being picky. And maybe we come back. But the thing is, it's a 6-hour flight from the East Coast. Both my kids live on the East Coast. It's like if I retired in Florida and one of my kids moved to Oregon. Same travel distance, It's just over in the south of Europe. Portugal's the furthest west you can be. That's why we picked it. Made a visit over there a couple months ago and absolutely fell in love with it. People are great. No crime, great health care, food amazing. and some of the most beautiful beaches I've ever seen in my life. So we checked the box on a lot of things, but guess what? I guess we made it. But how did we make it? Through choices. So I've talked about it before, but I'll refresh those on the show that are new. I lost nearly everything in 2010. My health was in the crapper. I had a major surgery. I had to have a foot taken out of my colon because of diverticulitis. I was in the hospital 6 days, lost 35 pounds. Wish I still had those off, but hell of a way when you don't eat for 8 days, nothing, no food in the body, go for a full cleanse, and then they take a foot out of you, and then you don't get to eat for 6 days after. It'll cause you to do that. But had to bounce back from that. Stress and anxiety. So my health was in the crapper following that surgery. My side hustle that I had back then, I've always been a guy that did something on the side. I was building high-end custom homes in the Carolinas. That business was collapsing, going through a bankruptcy around the company because in 2008, the entire housing market in the country collapsed. I outlasted Lehman Brothers and I outlasted Wachovia. They both collapsed and went out of business. Anderson Consulting went under, on and on and on. But I still had that happen. Then, of course, because of some of those other things and just batshit crazy, my wife decided to run around and wanted a divorce. So been married 18 years and then that happened. So it wasn't my best memories in hindsight here. But it was the reset button that woke me up and I needed. I realized what was most important were my kids, my health, and getting my financial situation back underneath me. That was just 15 years ago. So, see, I met this wonderful woman 10 months later who was driven, successful, caring, loving, grounded, an Iowa girl, big plus, beautiful, absolutely stunning, beautiful, fit, just gorgeous inside and out. We fell in love. And we fought, and we ended up getting, after several years, custody of the kids. And then we got married, and then we got custody of kids, not all in order here. But one thing we did when we met, I was going to choose differently. She was choosing her first in life. So we talked a ton. We talked for weeks and weeks and weeks about our goals before we even, were seriously dating. We worked our asses off to save as much money as possible, to give ourselves financial freedom, and to do that, checkbox, travel the world. The key here is we were on the same plane. We were on the same goal-oriented journey. See, we were tired of all the things that work brings on, the stresses and things, so it allowed us to get tied at the hip on this thing. This is a very important part. Make sure your partner in life shares the same goals with you if you're fortunate enough to have a partner. If you're on your own, then great. Pick your goals and chase them like hell. Then these choices that you need to make happen because you have a common cause. We didn't make it to where we are that's allowing us to take these next steps by chance. It was a designed plan that we held very firm to 95% of the time. We floated off of it a few times. Things happen. We decided to spend some money. Let's build a house. Let's, dip into some of the savings and things like that. And in no manner are we perfect. But we did make a cognizant decision that we were going after this common cause. We know couples who one likes to travel and the other hates to travel. Well, how in the hell are you going to chase dreams with that? One loves to spend money while the other slaves at work. Not a good partnership. It's what my last one was. These aren't healthy scenarios in the long run. Now, it doesn't mean you run off and if you're in one of those situations, you got to break up, move on down the road, but find your common set of goals. And if you're 40 years old, if you're 25 or 30 years old listening, start saving now. You'll retire at 45 instead of 57 if you want. Multiple millions of dollars if you do things right. You don't have to make $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a year to be able to retire with millions of dollars. Remember, most millionaires in this country are teachers, police officers, nurses. It's because they consistently put the money away. $1 million isn't what it used to be either. You might need $1.5 million. Depends on your lifestyle. I could have retired at 50, but my lifestyle choices, when you want to travel the world, it costs money. So we had to keep going, but we kept to the plan. Get connected on your goals and you will drive the success together. That's the key. So lots of people, as we're telling them this, I just was out at the headquarters this last week, got a nice dinner with the CEO and the executive management team and having a lot of fun. And a lot of them are saying to Aaron and I, man, you guys are retiring too early. I'm like, what do you mean? I had somebody in my family say, man, 57's young. Well, the average age in Dubai is 42 for retirement. Now, there's a lot of oil money there. I get it. But the average age in Turkey is 52. The average age in Western Europe is about 57, certain countries. Now, they're on a pension system and a socialized system and don't live near like we do with the capacity of some things that we want to do. But my point is that 57's not young. 45's not young. We put in 55 and 60-hour weeks. I have for the last 40 years. I'm the equivalent of 85 years old retiring for somebody that clocks in and clocks out. So is there such a thing as too early? I don't understand that. We aren't going to rot on the couch. I think that's what some people think too is, well, you're just going to sit down and you're just going to fade away. My dad did that. My dad retired at 62 very early for, in the late 80s, and then sat down, didn't do a lot of reading, watched sports on TV. Alzheimer's had got a hold of him, dementia, and it ran fast, and at 85, we lost him. You have to use your brain. We're going to embrace the world. We're going to be using our minds. Remember this, that on average, we live to a little over 80 years old. So a lot of people think you work until you're 65 and you got 15 good years. No, my friend. From 75 to 80, your body starts letting you down unless you're really focused to it. So now you retire at 65, you get to 75. What if something happens? What if something happens at 63? I lost 2 good friends this last year at 59. That's what really set me on. It's time. It's not about the money anymore. Let's do something here. So if you live to 80, midlife is 40, not 55 or 65. You are given your first 18 to 22 years by your family. Hopefully you had a good upbringing and your parents take care of you and you got a lot of that. So your first 20, 25 years are kind of on someone else's responsibility and accountability. There are stories where people were out of their homes at 16 and all that. I'm talking in big averages here. And then 65 on, you have Social Security and hopefully you've saved your money. And I'm using that 65 number again loosely. So you have the last 15 to 20 years taken care of. So you've got 40 of the 80 years taken care of. You just got to put your head down for 40 years. And if you get done early, like we're fortunate enough to do, we put 35 years in. My wife put 25 years in because we worked as a team. So if you want to go until you're 65, that's fine. But I would work on the plan backwards and try to get out a little bit earlier and keep working if you want to, but do your own thing. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute. If you work till you're 65, you have 15 years left, maybe. But again, 75 to 90, body starts falling apart. Won't allow great experiences, lots of travel, unless you really focus on good health, which I'm trying to do. I need to do much better there. You have to focus on your health. Maybe that's another set of choices. We're going to get 20 great years, if God so chooses, my wife and I. And it all comes down to prior choices. So life is full of these crossroads. Financial goals are critical. There's no doubt in this. We saved and invested rigorously is not a strong enough word, religiously for 14 years. And in that 14 years, we built a very nice nest egg. We don't need Social Security. We both have a couple little pensions. That's all going to be gravy on top, but we don't need that because we hit the market. We didn't try to time the market. We just every month sent checks, and every bonus check sent the bonus, lived off of the one salary, invested the rest. And maybe that isn't capable for everybody, but everybody won't build as big a nest egg, and there's people that build bigger nest eggs. The key is just do it, and then you have the flexibility. We didn't eat out every weekend. Oh, God, what a social impact. Not really. We grilled out with neighbors a ton. Grilled out. See, my wife's my best friend. We truly love to be with each other most of the time. She has moments where she doesn't appreciate me being around in my humor. I don't understand that. Actually, I understand it completely. But we didn't eat out all the time. We didn't buy too much house. We didn't go out and buy $100,000 cars. We bought nice cars, but we didn't go out and think, well, I got a raise. I'm going to go add $500 more a month in a car payment over what I'm paying today. We didn't buy clothes we wouldn't be wearing all the time. We didn't worry about keeping up with those enemies next door, the Joneses. I don't care how big a house somebody has or how fancy a car they have. 9 out of 10 of those situations, they've got heavy debt. Avoid debt, drive savings. And the younger you are, the faster you start. Doesn't matter if it's $100 at a time, $50 at a time, $1,000 at a time. Every single investment if you start at 25 and you got 40 years till you're 65, everything's going to double 6 times that you invest today on the rule of 72 at 10% return in the investment community. All those are averages that have held true for 120 years. So every dollar you put in today is worth doubling 7 times. So 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, $128. Every dollar you put in this year, if you're 24 years old, is worth $128 in your retirement. Put in 10, it's worth $280. Or that's not even right. 10 times that is worth, $1,280. I am smart, I promise. Put in 100, $12,800. It goes boom quick. The faster you start, the earlier you start. So we didn't buy clothes. We didn't eat out too often. We didn't do all those things. And everybody thought, oh, you didn't have any fun along life. We had a ball. We went on nice vacations, won some company trips. That helped along the way, of course. And we did some cheap vacations. Did a couple with the kids where, hey, they'd call up and say, hey, come down, look at our timeshare. We'll give you 3 free nights. So I turned 3 free nights into a 5-night vacation by paying for 2. Paid for 2, got 5, went and saw a 90-minute presentation. Use your head. Shop your insurance every year. Don't get the biggest cable package. Don't buy the whole NFL package. Watch the regular games on regular TV. Turn off cable. Check your Wi-Fi subscription. Look at your phone. Do you need unlimited everything? I don't know. Find ways to pinch something out of it. If your social life is 4 nights a week when you're 25, I get it. You want to be out? Fear of missing out? Go to 2 nights a week, and the other 2 nights, invest it. Put it in an envelope once a month. Send somebody some money. Open up an E-Trade, a Scott Trade. Open up a Charles Schwab account. I would recommend getting an investment financial planner involved that helps hold you to it. But these choices, we make choices and choices make us. Start today. Take stock in your life's ambitions and be honest with yourself and your partner. Are we on the right path and timetable? Just check tonight. Sit down with your loved one. Are we on the right path? Are we making the good decisions predominantly? Enjoy life. But there's inexpensive ways to enjoy life. We did it for decades before social media took over. 12-pack of beer and a blanket on the backyard watching the kids play is just as good as taking them out bowling and dropping $150 on pizzas and everything else. Order a pizza in, 6-pack of beer, sit with the neighbors, and have fun once a month. That's the right timetable and right path to be on. What changes could we make to improve our chances of success? Remember, you only get one shot at life, folks. Are you in a good place? What about your health? Are you taking decent care of yourself? I need to improve here, I said before, and I look forward to that. Having some time, not having to get up at 6:30 in the morning to be on the first call at 7. Sometimes I'm on the phone at 5 in the morning because I'm on with Japan. It's a 12-hour difference. We got to have Europe on the call too. So Europe's, 10:30, 11 in the morning, and Japan is 7, 8 at night. Sometimes I'm on the phone at 9 at night because it just inverts completely. Japan's first thing in the morning, and again, Europe's always the convenient one, middle of the day. So now I'm going to take better care of my health because I need all those good years. My wife's 12 years younger. Do you have a plan for your after retirement life? What are you going to do? Just stopping work and just sitting down can lead to issues. I told you, I watched my dad just fade away. He didn't use his brain. I've got a sibling struggling with dementia, Alzheimer's. Young. It's another thing that sped me up. Look around. What's your family genetic picture look like? My mom's going to be 96. Check. That's awesome. Still sharp as hell. Just talked to her this morning, talking politics and She's not real happy that I'm building a house in Portugal. Why would you do that? She's a World War II family, right? My sister pointed this out. Great point. They wouldn't think about living in Europe, right? We had to go over there and put 400,000 boys in the ground to save Europe. That is now bad talking us. Screw you. But I'm going to go over there and I'm going to get it all fixed. But Dad faded away. So I'm going to consult. I'm going to do some working on the side. I'm going to keep this show going. I'm going to keep sharp, I hope. Maybe the show will get crazier and crazier as we go along here. I'll just be some ranting or harder ranting, bigger lunatic down the road. But what are your plans to keep the mind going? Is it travel? That's great. See, I'm doing travel, learn a new language, take up music. They say all these things are key to keeping the mind healthy. I'm doing all three. We're going to travel. We're working on learning Portuguese. We know some Spanish, way different language though, note to self here. And Brazilian Portuguese, if you didn't know it, is different than what they call European Portuguese. Dialect's different. A lot of the words are the same. So we're going to learn Portuguese. We're going to travel the world. And I started playing the piano again. All of those use different aspects of your brain, different memory functions, different synapses firing. Read, pay attention to the news, check sources, work outside, get lots of vitamin D, eat your vegetables. All these things are important because you don't want to work your ass off for 40, 45 years and then sit down and die. So make these choices now. Make choices that make the best you. You can't work forever, so create an identity after your career. Some people really struggle. I'm an alpha in my professional career. That I've been fortunate. I'm in leadership. I'm running the whole thing here. Have been for years. I'm going to have to get a different gear in my brain going on here. I'm sure I'm going to drive my wife nuts for a few months. But I have a lot of things. I'm going to work on my golf game too. That's the physical activity. That also will keep the mind clear because you have to remember all the swear words when you're a golfer. I'll learn how to swear in Portuguese when I put it in the trap or hit it in the water, right? How do you say mulligan in Portuguese? I need to look that up. So make choices that make the best you. You got to understand you're in this for the long haul. Planning it so it can happen is key here. Don't procrastinate on this. You're listening to the episode today. Go home and start a conversation with your loved one. If you're single and you don't have a significant other, go home and look and contact a financial planner. Write down what your dreams are. What do you want to do? A trip to Italy, a trip to Asia, a world cruise, live close to your kids and take care of grandbabies. Whatever it is, are you on the right track to do it? So take this beginning of spring, this reset, and spring into action. Put a plan together that is flippin' awesome. Then keep that shit up. Talk next week.